Good morning, everyone, and welcome to morning meeting. This morning we are prepping food for Blossom and Lotus, our painted turtle ambassadors. Because we are in our main kitchen, that's why I still have the mask on. I will take it off once we get back. Say good morning, Nicole. Yeah, so we are in the main kitchen. You can see one of our diet boards behind me. So that's where we are starting this morning. Yeah. So this morning, so our aquatic turtles, Blossom, Lotus, and then our spotted turtle, Percy, their meals are a little bit different compared to like our box turtle platters that you guys saw last week. So we, just like with the box turtles and Skeeter, we're going to use the same ambassador diet board to make them. So we're going to go off of this recipe for them. Our turtles do get fed every other day. So today they're going to get a bonus food because they got fed yesterday, so they're going to be super excited. So I do have a jar for both of them that we'll be putting everything in. So first we're going to start with maintenance pellets. So I'll talk a lot more about these when we get the turtles out, because this is a big reason why we have Blossom to begin with as an ambassador. Morning, Mom. These have been really cool to be able to see a family jumping in. So we're going to give Blossom her pellets. She gets 6 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then Lotus is going to get, 3. So there's tiny little brown little dot kind of things. So they get them with some nutrition in them. And then they're both going to get wheat germ. They each get 3 of them. So these are much, much, much tinier little dots. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So now the good part of their meal. So they are omnivores, just like us. They get a bunch of different food groups, so just like we do. So first we're going to give them a tablespoon of dark greens. Today it's kale. They are aquatic, so they would be eating, or semi-aquatic actually. So they will hang out on land, but they will be eating some of those greens that you see in the water. So nice finely chopped kale green for them. And Blossom. And then the same amount for Lotus. And then we're going to give them about a teaspoon of grated carrot. Good morning, Rebecca and Xander. Good morning, Michelle. I'm so glad you are enjoying these. Good morning, Ryan. We miss you. So they're going to get each a teaspoon of shredded carrot that I'm going to give them. We kind of guesstimate a little bit. There we go. And then their favorite part of their meal. So the favorite part is always the protein. So today, normally Blossom would get both mealworms and a tiny little piece of fish. But we are currently out of fish, so she's just getting mealworms today. And then Lotus, we switch because she's a bit smaller than Blossom. She's about half of her size. So we don't give her as much protein as we give Blossom. But they're going to get these little squiggly little mealworms that they all really, really enjoy. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1. And that's a painted turtle platter prep. So we'll go find them and give that to them. Promise I'll clean up my mess after. We're going to go drop these in the back room and then we'll grab our friends. So we're going to be in our back office again today. just gonna turn you guys around. So we use this little bucket when we're carrying them around when they go outside, the outdoor enclosures, and it's just easier to put them in that. Just, they like to move around. Notice. There. Stop. There you go. Don't bite me. There we go. There's Blossom. I already filled these buckets with their water. Cool. So we got Blossom's food. Here you go. And then Lotus's food. As always, let us know where you guys are tuning in from today, and if you have any questions. We're just gonna hang out with Blossom and Lotus while they eat their breakfast this morning. And once they're done eating, I'll let them hang out and crawl around. Right, guys? Yeah, so we do try to give them some live sometimes. So I'll give them the mealworms because they're moving around. It's good enrichment for their brain, something that's moving. Sometimes they'll get a treat of a tiny tadpole. Their two roommates that are goldfish were originally as enrichment, but they're friends, not food. If you guys have ever seen Finding Nemo. So she has a beak just like a bird. It's very, very sharp. It's so fun to watch her eat. Good morning, Amanda. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Like, yes, we're getting an extra meal. This is awesome. But we don't have to worry too much about these guys. So now that it's getting warmer out, these guys will go out to their outside enclosures in a little bit. Once they eat, just so we can make sure that Lotus isn't stealing any of Blossom's food and vice versa. We don't have to worry too much about their weights. They're both in pretty good weight, but we just want to make sure they're not stealing each other's treats. Right? Hi, Lodi. Yeah, maybe, so it wasn't intentional, but, they've been in there for several years now. So they're just friends. Sometimes they like to play with them. One of the goldfish is missing half a tail. I'm gonna take a guess that was probably Blossom. Oh yeah, chomp, chomp, chomp. And you can see we have to make sure that it is cut up pretty fine for these guys. Just because they don't have those teeth like we do. So they have that beak that they're gonna grab, but they need to be able to get it cut up to swallow. Good morning, Katie. Thank you for joining us. Oops. I love watching you eat, Blossom. It's so cool. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Yeah, so these guys are one of our more common types of turtles that we have around here. These guys, the painteds and then the snapping turtles, are the two most common types. We actually have 7 species of turtle here in Maine. But unfortunately, most of them are not doing very well. Good morning, Katie. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Here with Blossom and Lotus. During breakfast time. Like, hi human. Do you have more food? We have 7 species here, and 5 of them are not doing great. We have mostly due to habitat destruction, our roads being hit by cars. It is illegal to take these guys, most of our turtles, out of the wild as babies because they are very cute. They're only about the size of a quarter. But when we take them out of the wild, they essentially forget how to be a turtle. They become imprinted. And with turtles, it's especially important because when we get them into our clinic, they actually have to go pretty much the same exact spot that they were found. That's because our turtles don't travel a whole lot. So like our box turtles, they'll spend most of their life in an area about the size of a football field. So when we move them out of that home range, that area where they spend most of their time, they're going to try to go back to that same spot eventually. Unfortunately, they could get injured on the way from predators or cars, right? So when we get these guys into the clinic, we have to know exactly where they came from. But we can actually do something really cool though, since our turtles aren't doing well in the wild. If we have a mom that comes in that was hit by a car, we can, if she does pass away, we can actually extract her eggs and incubate them ourselves, and then they can be released exactly where mom was found. Since they never meet their parents ever, they're actually born with all the information that they need to survive. So we can put them exactly where mom came from, and they know exactly what they need. Amy, don't they need some sky every day while in care for orientation? So believe it depends on the turtle if they're using the sky or if they're using magnetics. Like that's how sea turtles migrate, is through the magnetic change that they can sense. But our turtles do go outside during the summertime, and our patients, they'll be out in outdoor enclosures before they get released so they can acclimate to the temperatures again. Right. But that is a big thing that we're really excited to have in our new building. So part of our patient... Hi, Blossom. Part of our patient enclosures will have lots of natural light to help with the photo periods so that they know when is day, when is night. So that's something we're really excited to have in our new building, because right now we actually have to transfer white light lamps around and UV lamps so that they are getting some of that mimicked natural sunlight. But we're really excited to be able to offer them that true sunlight once we're in our new building very, very soon, which we're really, really excited about. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Jen. Thanks for joining. I love seeing all the people from my hometown jumping in. Good morning, Greenbelt Hiker and Penelope. Right? So as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we can answer them for you today. Alright, guys. So as I was mentioning earlier when I was doing their platter prep with the maintenance pellets, so that is why we have Blossom. Blossom is special because she has, I know, come here. You can see the back of her shell curves up right by where my it's hitting the base of my thumb. And you can see all of her legs are exposed in her tail. So that if she were to be in the wild, that would not be beneficial to her. That would be really easy snack for a predator. They're both Eastern painted turtles, Amy. But she was only fed turtle pellets when she was belonged as a pet. So she developed metabolic bone disease, which is why her shell curves up. So she cannot swim as fast as other turtles. She is very much exposed. So besides the fact she's also been a pet her whole life, so she can not be released because they forget all the information that they're born with. She also wouldn't be able to release because of that shell deformity. So both of these guys are about 7 years old. And you can see Lotus is about half the size as Blossom. So Lotus came to us. I know, I'm sorry, I'm taking you from your breakfast. So you can see right behind her leg, her shell looks kind of weird. So that is old scarring. It's starting to go away on this last side. We're actually really excited. Both of our painted turtles just shed their scoots, which they do about once a year. Here, I'll let you finish your breakfast. But when they do that, so all those little scoots, those little puzzle pieces on the outside are just made of the same stuff our hair and our fingernails are made of, called keratin. And so they pop up just like an old injured fingernail, and then they have a new one that's under it. And so the last couple of years, Lotus has slowly started to get some of that color back in her shell. So you may be able to see down her sides, there's a little bit of pink, which was not there a couple months ago. So we're really excited about how she's healing, which is really cool. But Lotus came to us because she was found by a realtor who'd gone into a house and found her and a couple other painted turtles in a gross black bucket. So they had been left there for who knows how long, with no way to haul out or no way to get out of the water is what that means. So what happens is when that happens, they don't grow properly. And so when Lotus came to us, we could actually squish her bone, her shell. Imagine under all those puzzle pieces is bone. So if you imagine if you could squish your bones, something's really not well with you and you really need some help. So she is doing much, much better now. But that's why she is half the size as Blossom, even though they're about the same age. Is because she had shell rot and her shell does not grow properly. And we do actually have to get her x-rayed sometimes because you can see. So the top of her shell is much shorter than her bottom. So I'm sorry, I'll let you finish your breakfast. I just had to show that off. So we do have to make sure she's growing properly, because she is a special case with us. But we love these guys to pieces. Oh, thank you so much, Will, for donating. That's so sweet of you. We don't receive any state or federal funding, so we are very, very grateful for all the donations that we have been getting, especially with all these Facebook Lives. Because obviously we can't go see all the students and everyone that we usually would be enjoying seeing right now off-site, and so we're really, really grateful for your donations. Thank you so much, Will. Good morning, Naomi from Rhode Island. We have Lotus and Blossom, our painted turtles. You guys want to run around? I'll let you run around because you're done eating. So I'm going to let her hang out in the office. I have a towel, but she's definitely not going to stay here. So we'll see where she decides to go. As long as she doesn't try to jump in with Lotus. Yeah, what do you think? Get your exercise. As you can see all that red and yellow and orange on her. So that's why they're called painted turtles, because they're very, very pretty. No. I don't have any more food for you. I'm sorry. This works because Lotus is still eating. Where are you going? John, what kind of turtle? They are both Eastern painted turtles, John. So they're one of our more common types of turtles that we have around here, named after that pretty orange and red and yellow on their skin and on their shell. You can tell the difference between them and the red-eared sliders that are invasive. They are those turtles that we see in the pet store. And unfortunately, they actually live in the same niche, or we call it the same habitat, they eat the same food as the painted turtles. So what happens is, because they get much, much larger, they can get 2-3 times bigger than these guys. So you can tell the difference between the painteds and the sliders is because the sliders are going to have a little red mark right behind where their ear would be, if you could imagine that. But they're not going to have all this pretty red going on that Miss Blossom has. No, look at that. She is very pretty. You're very right, John. Very, very pretty. So their scientific name is actually Crissimi picta. Picture. Very, because they're so pretty in colors. Full. Yeah, you ate all your breakfast. I'm sorry. Right, Lodi? So Lotus is almost done, and so I'll give her another minute or so, and then I'll bring them out, and we can show you guys where they spend most of the time in the summertime. Because we do love to give them the option to be able to go outside, just because they do enjoy, especially these guys, they spend most of their time swimming in their really big pond that they have in their outdoor enclosure, where the box turtles more like to hang out in their little wading pool that they can get into, but they're not going to hurt themselves in, and then just get some sun, which is really nice, because they do need that natural sunlight to help keep their shells healthy. Right? It's like, I gotta get every little bit in here. I think you're pretty much done, Lodi. You guys ready to go outside? Yeah, so we'll bring them out. Show you guys where they normally live. Ready, guys? Going outside. Turtle time. You can see they love to move around, to be careful. Holding on to them. John, are they good to have as pets? So turtles and reptiles aren't cuddly like your cats and dogs are going to be. And they're pretty difficult to take care of, so you just have to make sure you're really prepared to do so. So we have all of our turtle and snake ambassadors because they were pets at one point. Either people couldn't take care of them, or they just didn't know what they were getting themselves into. So here is their outdoor enclosure. So I'm going to put them in and let them swim around, and you guys can see what they do most of the day. There you go. Right, guys? So you just have to be really careful and know what you want in a pet. Kind of cuddle with you and stuff like that. But in the case of these guys, they are difficult to take care of. They need all the food groups just like we do. Henry and Skeeter are right there though, so that's always fun. Right, guys? But they have this nice big pond that they can You are. If you guys have any last questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, we'll let these guys get back to their daily swimming around. Thank you guys so much for joining in as always, and thank you for your donations. They really mean so much to us. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, Blossom. Bye, Louie.